Alright guys, sorry I'm a little bit late on the coverage with this, but here we are, better late than never. So of course, this is your boy Tacho here, and we're going to be talking about the new season of Hall of Forms today. So this time around, it's themed after Fire Emblem Awakening. Pretty great game, and definitely a new entry point for a lot of players that have started playing the games. So I'm sure there's some fan favorites in here that people may want to go for. If you plan to buy the Forma Soul and you want to pick up one of these units as your Forma option, what we're going to do is we're just going to go over some skills you want to look out for while playing in the mode and what skills you want to pick up. So this is also going to be the first round of Hall of Forms going into it where we actually know firsthand about the trait fruits. And a unit like, say, Walhart, for example, that normally is not able to have IVs, is now actually capable of having IVs with the trait fruits. So him being a free-to-play option and very easily mergeable up to plus 10 definitely gives him a lot of credibility. But honestly, on this batch, I think the best unit to go for is Brave Lucina, especially if you don't have a copy of her yet, because you really don't need merges on her whatsoever. Just deck her out with some good skills and get your one copy. And Brave Lucina is going to be pretty much the best support unit you can have for any of your physical type damage units. She grants the passive breath effect, which is highly coveted by basically all of your bait options. So she's definitely got to be in first place. And then for second place, I do think it's actually Walhart by just a slight edge over the Exalt Chrom. So Chrom and Walhart are more or less just as good as each other. The only difference is that Walhart is very easy to get merges on, whereas Chrom is still a 5-star gacha exclusive. But they are very similar units. Only difference is that one uses a sword while the other uses an axe. So they're going to have access to a couple of different inheritable weapons because of that. And finally, we have Grima in last place. Unfortunately for your boy, not only is he an armored unit, but he's also a dragon unit. So the two most hated types by Insys in the entire game. Put them together and you have a unit that's very susceptible to effective damage and also gets shafted out of most of the new skills that get released. So unless he's one of your favorite characters, I can't really suggest picking up Grima with the Forma Soul. But anyways, let's go ahead and talk about the units one by one and go over which skills you want to watch out for while you're leveling them up. Alright, so we're starting off with Lucina. Also, I'm using a brand new layout here to display the skills. Let me know in the comments section if you guys like it, so I have an idea if you want me to use it more or if I should go back to the old style. But anyways, Lucina, of course, comes with Gearskagul, which is pretty much the only weapon you ever want to run with her. But if you are interested in picking up some side options just in case you want to use them later on, Its Curtains and Flowing Lance definitely the best ones to pick. Both of them are seasonal locked weapons, and both of them are going to come in handy for Lucina. Mostly in the event that you want Lucina to do all the combat for herself, as opposed to trying to play a support role with her perf weapon. For the assist skill, just go with any plus assist skill. They're all very hard to come by, and all of them are basically just as good as each other. There are some slight differences, of course. Harsh Command, probably overall the best for a strict support role that Lucina likes to play. But Double Rally plus skills also very good for her, if you want her to not only support the ally unit, but also give them the stat bonuses too. And Rally Up Attack is nice if you want to just spread out those stat bonuses to your other units. For the special, you definitely want Ruptured Sky. Gale Force isn't bad because you can just get it for free, as opposed to spending 20k feathers to level up a Cordelia and get it on her from there. But definitely go for Ruptured Sky. It's real easy to activate, and it's going to help her deal even more damage to dragon types, which she already has effective damage on from her base weapon. So very good. In the A-slot passive, I would say if you're going to use her as a supporter, you definitely want to go for either Life and Death 4 or Fury 4. And the reason why is because they're going to provide hard stat bonuses to Lucina. And because she's playing a support role, that gives her a better chance to actually draw in the debuffs from one of the shrines. More likely going to be the Bright Shrine because Lucina's attack and speed combo is actually pretty good. Whereas her defense and res combo, not really the best, and most likely not going to be able to outnumber whatever unit you're having her support. So Life and Death 4, the preferred option because it gives you more attack and speed, but Fury 4 is just fine as well. And if you want Lucina to be the one doing the fighting, then either go for attack and speed push 4 or distant counter. She doesn't really have the best of res stats, so you might be thinking, oh, well, why should I take distant counter on a unit like that? And the answer is very simple, my friends. That is because you're getting distant counter for free, basically, and there's really no arguing that it's gonna help any unit no matter what, especially if you're grinding for hero merit or something like that, if you want to play on auto battle. So free distant counter is free distant counter. Do not say no to that. Now, in the B slot, this is where things get a lot trickier for Lucina. There's a lot of really good support options in the B slot for her to run. Ruse skills, which I think are probably the best overall, because they can inflict debuffs on the foes within cardinal directions, and they're also going to inflict guard as well. So whatever unit you may have Lucina supporting on the team, she's going to be able to support them even further by inflicting guard on foes and stat drops. So definitely good with the ruse skills. Even Pulse Tie is also very good, specifically against infantry pulse setups. Now, the reason why we go for even Pulse Tie over odd Pulse Tie is because you have to wait for the opponents to take their first turn before skills like Infantry Pulse and Quicken Pulse and so on actually kick in. So even Pulse Tie, definitely better than odd Pulse Tie for support. And Sudden Panic can also be a support option if you want her to just go for the Aversa effect and debuff all the foes that are adjacent, assuming that they have less HP than Lucina. But of course, if you don't want Lucina to play a support role, feel free to pick up Spurn 3 or Lull Attack and Defense, or maybe even Lull Attack and Speed, just if you want her to do the fighting for herself and give her a little bit of a boost in combat. And finally, in the C slot, it should go without saying, either Joint Drive Attack or Joint Drive Speed are perfect. They play so well with Gearskagul that there's no reason to choose anything else. But if you do want Lucina to do the fighting, like I said before, Time's Pulse is a pretty good option, especially when comboed with its Curtains, so you can get a really consistent Gale Force out of Lucina. And Defense and Res Gap could also be a pretty clutch option if you wanted, combined with Rally Attack and Speed Plus, and assuming that the support unit has the highest Defense and Res combo, you could pretty much just give +6 and +5 to all stats to whatever unit you have supporting with Lucina. So not bad, but definitely you want to go for the joint drive skills, I would say. Alright, next up we're going to talk about Walhart. So in terms of weapons, you probably want to stick to Wolfberg, but you could pick up Fire Sweep Axe, which is still a 5-star locked weapon, or a Huge Fan just because it's really good on cavalry units. But Huge Fan is generally pretty easy to get since the Hinata that comes with that skill is in the Grail shop. For the most part, the assists and specials are going to be the exact same on all these units. The idea is to just pick up the most expensive and hard to find skills that you can when you're building these Forma units. So there's no reason not to pick one of the Rally Plus or Harsh Command Plus, or Ruptured Sky, which is the hardest special to get and also the most efficient out of the 5-star locked specials. Now for the A-slot passive, you can go for either Attack and Speed Push 4 or Attack and Speed Solo 4. Both of them pretty much do the same job, though I would give a slight edge to Attack and Speed Push 4 in this case, because he's going to be getting the stat bonuses even if he's adjacent to an ally. And even though Walhart's speed may not be the craziest, he is still getting +4 from Wolfberg, and then you can support him with some crazy stuff like we're going to see in the B-slot passive to really make his speed stat look a lot better. So I do think the attack and speed combo skills are the way to go. You could also go for Heavy Blade 4 if you wanted, so he can quick ramp into Gale Force if he's capable of doubling the foes. And once again, Distant Counter for free is Distant Counter for free, so don't argue with that. So for the B slot, we have the debuff options here. You either go with Ruse Attack and Defense or Ruse Attack and Speed, and the same stat combos for the lull skills as well. Just focus on lowering the foe's attack and speed or attack and defense, and Walhart should be fine to go to town. The ruse skills are especially clutch on him if you're going to run him in a rally trap in Aether Raids. So just something to think about. And finally, for the C skills, once again, we're going for Joint Drive Speed or Joint Drive Attack. They're just the best C-slot skills in the game, unless you're a flying type and you can use the rain skills. But Panic Smoke could be a pretty good option too if you're running Gale Force on this guy. Because if he can just ramp right into it, like if you gave him Heavy Blade 4, then he's going to inflict panic on the foes in 2 spaces, and the next foe that he attacks is going to be majorly debuffed from that point on. So not bad. Alright, next up we have Chrom, and for the most part you build this guy the exact same way as Walhart. They're both melee cavalry types with very similar stat spreads. The only difference, of course, being their weapon type and also their availability. So the same skills are going to work just fine on both of them. But Chrom being a sword unit, he does have one edge over Walhart, and that's the fact that he can get the melee bouquet. It comes with the impact effect as well as attack and defense +4 when your unit initiates. And typically, cavalry units are not allowed to inherit impact skills, so melee bouquet is just super clutch for cavalry units to have, and it's definitely going to be the weapon you want to pick up if it actually shows up for you. And the final unit we're going to talk about is Grima, and sadly, there's really not that many good inheritable breaths. Lightning Breath, of course, is really good, but not only is it very available, but this Grima also comes with Expiration, which has built-in distant counter already, so you can't really give him all that much in terms of weapons. Glittering Breath is rare though, so you might want to pick that up, I guess. Water Breath might also not be too terrible, but it's pretty available because you can get it from the male Kana and he was free to play. So I wouldn't really worry too much about Water Breath. Assists are once again the same thing, but we do have a difference in special here. So all the other units were capable of having Gale Force, but for whatever reason, Insys thought that Gale Force was too OP on Dragon-type units. So we gotta run Aether on this guy instead. Not the biggest deal because it also provides him sustain and bigger damage. So that is probably what he wanted anyway in the long run. For the A-slot passive, we have a couple of options here. So you can go with Mirror Stance 3 or Bracing Stance 3. Pretty much any of the stance skills that raise his res and either attack and defense are going to work just fine. With built-in distant counter on his weapon, you can play this guy as a pretty decent bait option. But he is very powerful. His attack stat actually held up quite well, and he still has a super boon in attack. So skills that raise his attack, also a good option. If you want him to player phase and get double attacks with Bold Fighter, attack and res push and attack and res solo, also going to be very good options. And if you want to focus him a little bit more on baiting ranged opponents, Distant Defense 4, also a very good option. Now for the B-slot passive, you can go for pretty much any of the fighter skills you want, but these 3 are probably the way to go. He already defaults with Vengeful Fighter, so don't worry about that. And I wish that new fighter skill that we got from Gatry would be available right away, but unfortunately the brand new skills are not going to be available in Hall of Forms immediately after release, so we are going to have to wait a little bit on that. But otherwise, Bold Fighter works just fine on him. Odd Follow-Up as well is a pretty good option, so he can double attack on both phases as long as the turn is an odd numbered turn. And Special Fighter, also a good option if you combo it with the quick repost Sacred Seal. He can inflict guard on the foes and ramp specials for himself. And finally, for the C-slot passive, once again, Joint Drive Attack just stands a cut above the rest. Threaten Attack in Res 3 is also pretty cool. If you're playing this guy in arena mode and you're fighting a whole bunch of other armored units, you can set it up in a way where the foes are going to be 2 spaces away on the start of your turn, and you can just inflict some nasty debuffs on them and get some stat bonuses. Armor March just recently became a Sacred Seal, so you don't really need to prioritize that too much, but it's still not a bad idea to pick it up if you want it. And again, Panic Smoke, just like we talked about on Walhart, not a bad idea for these player phase units, especially if you're going to run Bold Fighter on him. So just another option to consider, but I would say Joint Drive Attack is the way to go. And that's going to wrap us up for these skills you want to pick up on these Forma units. Let me know in the comment section down below, actually, which one of these units are you looking forward to the most? And if you plan to buy the Forma Soul pack, Which one of them are you going to buy with your Forma Soul? Let me know that in the comment section down below. And for me, I think I'm definitely going to go with Brave Lucina. Even though I already have a copy of her, it is still going to be nice to deck her out with some good skills. So I am looking forward to that. But anyways, this is your boy Tacho signing out. So thanks so much to everyone for watching the video. And once again, I am sorry I'm a little bit late on this one. I like to get these out right away, but I had another video to make today, so that one kind of took up a little more time. But that's all for now. So take care, and I will catch you guys again on the flip side.